Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes. We are with Liberty Lass, our energy melee willpower brute, who's level 21 and very close to level 22. She will probably level up this episode. I'm not going to do single origin enhancers yet. We're going to wait on that because I want to start season 2 of this run through with the SOs. So we'll go ahead and take this guy's mission, part 1, Sands of Time. And what I'm going to do here, just to make sure we don't hit level 22 too fast, and I'll explain why I'm going to do that as we go. Come here. Options. I'm going to go into, where is it? Is it controls? No. General. XP. We are not going to get XP for a mission or two. And that will prevent us from leveling up too fast because we're very, very close to, we have our patrol XP and we're very, very close to getting to level 22. So, why am I turning off the XP? Well, the main reason is that if we hit level 22, we're going to have a really difficult time on our hands with some of the harder missions where we have to fight elite bosses and stuff, and our enhancements are the weakest they're going to be. I mean, they're already red. They're already yellow, and so this one's already only doing 15% instead of like 18 or whatever it would be if it was green. So we've lost a bit of a percentage on a lot of our abilities, and so what we want to do is, so just sort of slow it down a little bit, and we'll just try to hit level 22 at the end of this arc rather than as we go. And it's fine. It's no big deal. We're just doing the arc for fun. And then after we're finished with this story arc, we will actually have the ability to go to Ouroboros, which is the sort of time-traveling area where you could do flashbacks. And we can maybe try some of that, but we'll see how that works, and that should be fun to do, and we'll do that as part of Season 2. So that's why I've turned off XP gain. So now all we're doing is gaining influence. This is, by the way, if you're short on influence and you feel like you're influence poor, one of the things you can do is turn off the experience gain, and that will enable you to gain influence without XP, and you can leave that on as long as you want, right? You can go into Craze Folly at the right level, or in this level you'd go into what, level 21, you'd go into, well, not Dark Astoria anymore, but what's the, Terra Volta or something, and do street sweeping or whatever to try and gain influence without gaining XP, right? Every mob, every enemy we defeat is giving us about 50 influence, right? So you do 10 of them, it's 500. You do 100 of them, it's 5,000. Right? You get 1,000 of them, it's 50,000, and so on. And the same is true for completing missions. You just get influence. Right? Notice we got influence for this particular clicky as well. So we're trying to get stolen codes. I should have checked for a Raider Engineer. It's a good thing these guys are all Inferno. Now, Inferno's not great for us because we don't have fire defense or resistance, but at least we don't have an engineer who is slapping down one of those force field generators and being annoying. Let's go ahead and grab this sturdy because we don't really need it, and we'll slowly build my kit of inspirations that I like to run with. Again, I might ditch, once I have single origin enhancers on both quick recovery and stamina, I might just ditch the blues. And depending on how the Rise to the Challenge regen works, I might not need the heals either. Like on my regen scrapper with dull pain and what was it, instant healing, I almost never bothered to carry heal inspirations. Right, so it just depends on, how the particular power set plays. Now I do want to talk about why am I, starting a new season. Well, I feel like the character's going to play very differently once she has SOs, so I feel like a new season is warranted. I also remember, I think it was Kill 10 Rats, whose videos I used to like to watch. I don't think he's posted much in a while, but he had a really cool. He's had several really cool series that I followed, and he does them for a while, then he stops and he starts a new series. And he did a really excellent one called A Lonely Knave, where he was using the Knave game and the solo rules for that, and a bunch of other random number generators to create this really awesome story about a female orc who began in prison. I was too late on this guy. He began in prison. She began in prison, and then he created this really cool story of how she got out of prison, and then she was like, she escaped into. Come on. She escaped into like a temple, and she found this other guy, and they worked together for a while, and then he was killed or whatever. And so it's this really cool story, and they got to this point at the end that was, kind of wrapped up the what you would call the first arc or what have you. And he said, this is the end of season 1. At some point, maybe I'll do a season 2. But what he said in the video was his experience as a YouTuber with a lot more followers than I have is that if the seasons are too long, if the playlist is too long, people won't start it, right? I guess it feels too intimidating, and so they just won't even begin, right? And so what he's found is it's better to have short seasons, and then people might be willing, right, to start a series that's 4 seasons of 15 episodes, but they're not going to start a series that's just 60 episodes. Which seems strange to me because it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But I don't want people to be intimidated by how long the seasons are. Now, I'll say for me, longer always is desirable to me, right? My feeling on it is if I like a thing, then I'm going to want that thing to last. And so I'm always happy with longer stuff. As long as you can start at the beginning and you don't have to start at the end, right? In the old days with comic books, it was very hard because when I was a kid, like, there were few, if any, places you could buy back issues, and there were no digital comics or anything. And so if a series was like 400 issues long, you're just going to have to start on number 400 and work forward. And that's what we got used to doing. And it was okay. But if it's possible to start at the beginning and work up, and I like it, I want it to be long because it gives me more pleasure, right? More issues to enjoy, more stories to read, more episodes to watch, or what have you. And actually, there are a number of actual plays, or whatever you want to call them. I hesitate to call them actual plays of tabletop role-playing games because there pretty much aren't any other than maybe Bill Allen's D&D with high school students, which is like an actual play in the sense that they're kids, they don't know how to play D&D, and he's actually teaching them how to play. Most of the quote-unquote actual plays are highly artificial, and they're not really actual plays the way people play when there aren't cameras on and a production crew and stuff like that. But I do enjoy watching some of these where people are playing the game out, such as the solo adventures that both Kill 10 Rats and Me, Myself, and Die, Trevor Duvall does it on Me, Myself, and Die. And to me, it's a deterrent if somebody's got a campaign that ended like a year ago and it's only 4 episodes, and I know that it's not ongoing, right? If it's ongoing, we're going to stay and fight a boss here. Doesn't give us any XP, but it'll give us influence, and besides, we're going to arrest the jump bot. If it's still ongoing, I don't care if there aren't that many episodes. But if it's, if it's done and there are only 5 episodes, I'm probably not going to watch it because I feel like it's not enough meat to sink my teeth into. If I'm going to enjoy the thing, I might not like it, but if I don't like it, I can always stop. But if I like it, I can't continue if it doesn't continue. So when I started watching Me, Myself, and Die, Trevor Duvall was still finishing. He hadn't quite finished the first season, so I didn't know how long that was going to be. Would I have started it if I'd known it was only going to be 22 or so half-hour episodes? I actually honestly don't know, because I might have felt like that's not long enough, So it's funny that so many people apparently seem to be the opposite of me, but to me it's like if I see something that's long-running, I know that that's something that I can sink my teeth into and enjoy long-term. through the course of many months, perhaps. So, for instance, when I started watching Critical Role, one of the things that I liked was that there were so many episodes. I think there were like 50 episodes or something of the second season when I started watching the second season. It was 4 hours each, and like I can't watch an episode of 4 hours long of anything in one sitting. So I was just sort of watching it while I was eating lunch during the pandemic and stuff like that, or while I was making dinner. And so I'd watch a half hour a day or something. So it'd take me like almost over a week to go through an episode, and they were putting on an episode a week until the pandemic. And so I was actually losing ground, and I actually liked that. That when I'm on episode 30, instead of them being on episode 80, they were like on episode 99 or something. That means I can keep watching it. If I'm enjoying something, why wouldn't I want it to continue? And so I don't quite understand the idea of, oh, I want it to be short, but I do sort of understand that it can be intimidating to know there's that much to go, right? And oh my gosh, I have to invest this much into it. And I guess a lot of people aren't willing to start investing that much into it. There's a little war going on here. I guess some people don't want to start investing that much into it if they don't know if they're going to like it yet or not. Because I think part of it is some people are, and I can be like this too, completionists, right? What did I used to call it when I was talking to people on Neverwinter Nights, and I said one of my friends had OCD, and they're like, you shouldn't use that. That's like a psychiatric diagnosis, and your friend who has to complete the whole map, that's not OCD. And so I started calling him, all right, not OCD, but an obsessive completist. And I'm not as bad as he is, but I can be a bit of an obsessive completist too. And so it is the case that once I start something, a lot of times I really want to finish it. But so I guess I can kind of understand how you wouldn't want to start something that's really long unless you know you like it. And that if it's shorter, you might feel like, well, if it's not that, if it's not that great, it's only, 10, 30-minute episodes, who cares? I'll just watch them and, be done with it. My personal feeling is life is too short to watch even 30 minutes of something I'm not enjoying, and if I don't like it, I'm just going to stop. I mean, I've done this with reading. I was watching, I can't remember if I mentioned this maybe in one of my Let's Rants, but I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos about books and some booktube or whatever, which is people reviewing books on YouTube and so forth. And I can't remember. I think I was looking up reviews for something I was considering reading. I don't remember what it was. And I came across something popped into my feed. It was a woman. I don't remember who she was. She looked like she was in her maybe late 20s, early 30s, and she said she always wanted to read more. And she found she found something that she could do that was basically really effortless and caused her to read a lot more. And she went from reading like 15, 20 books a year to reading like 80 or something, some huge number. She like tripled her number of reading, 20 to 60 or something like that. And her solution was, if you don't feel like picking up a book, if you want to read but the book you're in is not engaging you, just start another book. She said, I used to always, and I do this, right? I would never start another book until I finished the book I'm in, right? It was like, I had this personal rule. Once I start a book, I have to finish it. I mean, I can decide I'm not going to read this book anymore and put it away. But if I don't make the decision that I'm completely abandoning the book, then I would force myself to finish book one, whatever book I'm reading, before I start the next book. And I'm not talking about book 1, 2, or 3 in a series. I mean, I'm reading a Zane Grey Western, and it's not engaging me, but I'm going to finish it because I want to know how it ends. And I'm struggling to get through it because it's not that great. And I'm really tempted to pick up the next Brandon Sanderson Stormlight Archive book, but I don't want to do that because I got to finish Zane Grey first, right? And this isn't to belittle Zane Grey or praise Brandon Sanderson. I've only read one of each of their books so far, so I don't really know who I'm going to like better. I've got several more on my list for both of them, and they both written a lot more than that. But what she said was, and I find this to be true, if you're in a book that you're not enjoying, then you just, like, I play City of Heroes instead or something like that, right? I find excuses not to read. Or I'll say, well, I'll read the book when I go to bed, and then I just basically stay up so late, like, I don't want to read this book. So I'll just stay up and do something else, and then when it's bedtime, I'll go to bed, right? And I won't bother to read. But if it's a book that I really won't really enjoy and I really want to read, then I'll actually go to bed early, right? My normal bedtime, I try to do 11 o'clock. I'll go to bed at 10:30, just so that I'll have time to read another chapter of the book I'm enjoying, because it's that good. And then I'll probably stay up till midnight reading it, right? And I don't mind doing that. It's fine. I can't do it every night, or I'll not get enough sleep. But my point is, if it's a good book, I can't put it down. If I can put it down, then maybe I should put it down and start another one. And so what she was saying, is this an ambush going the wrong way? What she was saying that she did is she's got multiple books that she's in the process of reading, and she just picks up whichever one she feels like reading. And if she stops feeling like reading that one, she just picks up another one. And she said what that caused her to do was to read a lot more, because she never was trying to force herself to read something that just was not pleasurable to her. Because if it's not really into the book, you pick it up, you read a couple pages, and I'm going to put it down, right? And so I've ended up reading a lot more as a result of the fact that I switched stuff. But as a completionist, I really hate marking a book did not finish. I sometimes do, but I really hate it, because I like to finish things. It's just how I am. And if you think about, like, go back to my Stalker videos, where I mentioned this in the last episode, I think, that the one guy was justifiably complaining about all the complaining I was doing about the missions on the alternate Earth, the Gold Side missions, and that I don't really like them, and I don't really like the gameplay on that side. And, he said, it's not fun to watch somebody playing a game and just griping about it all the time, right? Well, why did that happen? Part of it is because I'm a completionist, right? And what I should have done was said, look, I don't enjoy this side. I'm going to delete this scrapper or stalker and recreate her either in the Rogue Isles or in Paragon City, and just start her over again. And guys, you won't watch, whatever level we are. We're level 10. I won't show you the first 10 levels, and then when we get to level 11, we'll start up, right? I could have done that, but I was determined to finish that set of storylines because I'm a completionist and I want to complete it, right? Way over aggroed. Is this 3 spawns that I accidentally aggroed? I think so, at the intersection. I just blew past a couple of spawns and started engaging the third one, and the other 2 aggroed to me. So I gotta watch it, this guy. Oh, and we're also being ambushed. I think that's part of the problem. So we better use our luck here, because if we're gonna be ambushed, I've kind of allowed my hit points to go down too much. You can see that we're definitely having major recharge problems where I have to wait for things to recharge or use the generic things, the generic powers. I'm going to let him come to me. It also didn't help that the spawns are +1 to us too. One thing I hate about these bases is these flags. This is one of these examples of, hey, these look really cool and make the base look awesome, yeah, and I can't see what the heck I'm doing. And yet one more reason why I'm not a fan of the Arachnos bases, and this is why, guys, as much as I would like to do Red Side to get some different story arcs in, you won't see me playing Red Side on this channel, probably, because you have to do missions in these bases. If you could do a setting where you could turn these bases into the lab maps, just the I mean, I don't care about the layout of the hallways, but just the reskin them as the lab maps instead of the Arachnospace maps. I would probably do red side missions, but I can't stand these bases. And so, we're playing it here because it's this story arc, but once we're done with this, we won't be voluntarily going into Arachnos bases after this. And now we're going to have to fight the boss without a bunch of the inspirations. So let's up the damage to try and take him out fast. You can definitely see I don't have a complete attack chain because I have to keep using the Nemesis Staff and the throwing knives. So hopefully by the time we hit our SOs, we will have no issues with the attack chain, because we probably won't have recharge enhancers on them yet. We might not, because we don't have a lot of slots on those powers yet. So it may be a while before we have a closed attack chain. And part of that's that I have focused a lot on the defensive powers. Did I not? I thought I clicked on that one. And another ambush. Okay, so what's happening is as we click on these glowies, they're ambushing me. It's always good to figure out like what's triggering the ambush so you know ahead of time what's coming. So we might get 2 ambushes here because we clicked on 2 glowies. I don't actually remember this mission doing ambushes. It's been a while. I feel like I remember getting into a spot and either this mission or one of them and not being able to find the last thing that I was looking for and having to auto-complete it. But if we have to do that, that's okay. I can show you guys how that works. What am I missing here? Where didn't I go? Okay, we've been through here. Man, these banners. Like, there are way too many of them. This is where whoever designed this, somebody should have said to this person, you got to redesign this. It's too hard to see what you're doing. I think a lot of it depends on where you put the camera, right? If you're playing it zoomed in, maybe it doesn't matter. And I don't know how people play. Like, I always play it zoomed all the way out so I can see everything. And so it aggravates me when I become unable to see what I'm doing. Right, so like this area here is fine because I can see. Yep, this is the spot where I've often, when I've done this particular room, not been able to find what I was looking for. Now the glowy should make noise. So when we get up to it, we should be able to hear it. But you see there's this giant pit of a room. It dead ends here. And it has multiple levels both up and down. And you gotta ask yourself, who the heck would design something like this? Where at any false move, no railings, any false move and you could fall off. Sort of reminds me of the idiotic design of the Romulan mining ship from the 2009 Star Trek reboot with Chris Pine, where it had like water just flowing around parts of the deck of the ship, and it had these like rampways and stuff, and it was clearly just designed to be a cool set to fight on and not actually functional as part of a starship. And that's what this reminds me of. It's clearly just designed to, I don't even say look cool because you can't see it, right? It's all dark, but just clearly designed to be cool-ish looking-ish, and utterly non-functional as part of a base. But then a lot of the COH maps are non-functional, right? I mean, even like the office buildings and stuff. You can't imagine how anyone could have an office building looking like like those look and actually have an organized office, you know? By the way, these guys are actually throwing web grenades at me. You can see it right there. That is the immobilize icon. They're trying to immobilize me, but they can't because I have now 6.9 magnitude mes defense. And that will continue to go up as we level. I think it maxes out around 8 for brutes, but I'm not really sure. I'd have to go back and check Quintessence Lass's videos to see. So now this isn't really necessary to defeat every one of them for the mission, right? We just need to find the data file. But because we're not a stalker and we have no stealth, we don't have stealth, we will aggro these guys if we just buzz them. And I don't really feel like having to deal with them chasing me around and shooting at me at random times. So that's why I'm kind of beating up on them. What we have to do is find the sound of the glowy. And I have not heard it. And the weird part is there's no white dot either on the map. There it is. I'm in the wrong place. I zoomed the map in too much. Alright, so we don't need this. We'll just head on out. It's just one of these pointless rooms that they have in bases in case you want to, like, fight everybody. It can be really fun to go into those when you're on a team and there's, like, spawns all next to each other. Get out of the way. There's spawns all next to each other and... Oh, we haven't been in here. Okay. I thought we'd been on this side. I guess not. Yeah, watch Scrapper not being paying attention and doing a bad job on these missions, because that's pretty much what I just did. Let me try something here. Can I? No, it's not going to work. So one of the things I've noticed is I feel like... See if I can move in the right position. No, too late. I feel like when I'm... If there's a body of a defeated guy down there, and I'm in a position where the UI is on top of the body, and I click on the UI, I'm clicking on... It's selecting the body for some reason. It really shouldn't be doing that. The UI is not supposed to be clickable. You're not supposed to be able to click through it to the map and to stuff on the map. But I feel like that's happened to me a few times. Alright, let's call G. And now we need to locate 3 sites. These are all going to be underground. How are we doing on time? 30 minutes. Because I think we'll keep going. I really would like this to be our season finale. Hopefully it won't take too long. I think these are short. So what I'm going to do is I'll pause it here, guys, and find the ruins, and then once I've got them, I'll bring you back. Alright, this is the first ruin. So there's a cave network underneath the back part, the sort of the south part of Faultline, and what I did was I just ran through it, aggroed things, didn't care, ignored them, and then just because I'm a brute, I've got enough defense that if they shoot at me, it doesn't do that much, and that just let me get here without having to fight every single guy in the hallway. Part of why I'm trying to almost like speed run this. Who? Where are you? Is that we don't have XP turned on. I guess in retrospect, I should have decided to finish Season 2 with the last episode, or Season 1 with the last episode, and this should be the beginning of Season 2, but I kind of feel like I'd like to end the story arc. Oh, this guy is going to be hard to hit. One of them blinds you. Is it this guy? Yeah, probably. Doing eviscerate to me, I think. You are making me more furious. Okay, and then we have to search the rubble. So we need to fight this guy because he'll see us. Alright, so that's... So I have to clear out the first ruin. So I guess we gotta fight everybody. I thought we were gonna be done, but I guess not. So this part is really befuddling to me. Why are there Arachnos in Faultline? Why is the city unable to stop them? Why, if there is a foreign country's agents actually in Faultline, why is that not considered an act of war against the United States? And why is it that the heroes just haven't come in here and booted them out? Same thing with Arachnos and Atlas Park. It doesn't make any sense to me why they would be essentially permanent fixtures in those areas. Now, it would make sense if they, as I described in a previous episode, if they did something like the way the Lord of the Rings Online does, and once you complete a story arc about you kicking out, Arachnos out of Atlas Park, then the Atlas Park zone for you, you go into the part of the zone, the version of the zone that doesn't have them, right, where it's clean, and the same thing here, right? It would be really cool if you went into the version of the zone that was, Arachnos free. But yeah, they don't really do that in this game. And so it's just permanently there's an Arachnos invasion going on in Atlas Park and Faultline, and nobody ever does anything about it. You go on missions to do something about it, but it doesn't actually do anything. So it'd be nice if they had a way to progress the story a little bit more. Sort of how they have, they have the old Galaxy City from before the Shivan invasion, which we didn't actually see in this playthrough. And you can go through that as a, flashback, essentially. So it still exists. Well, why not have the, after you stop the Shivan invasion, you can go to the repaired, fixed-up version of Galaxy City now, It makes it feel unnecessarily static, I think. But it's just not a tech that they had intended when they built the game. Lord of the Rings Online hadn't even close to started yet, I don't think. I think that came out in 2008 or 9. This game had already been out for 4 or 5 years. Don't quote me on that though, guys. I don't really remember exactly what year it came out. Buff up a little bit. Definitely need more, either more attack powers or better recharge on these attack powers. Well, we'll be getting more. Um, there are still 2 or 3 more to get. Um, second ruin cleared out. And I think there's one more, if I'm not mistaken. Hi, guys. I'm not after you. I'm after this little waypoint. The real fun is going to be getting out of here, because whenever I do this on Rebirth, they give you the mission teleporter in your email rather than having to pay merits or influence or whatever for it. And usually by the time I do this, I have the mission teleporter and I just teleport in and out. But we can't do that this time, so I will pause it when we're on our way out, so you don't have to watch me getting lost among the caves down here. Gotta say, for Arachnos, not a huge fan of the spider theme. Spiders are just, I mean, spiders are fine as organisms. You know, I'm a biologist, I don't mind them, but thematically, spiders have never been anything that I've found to be cool. It's a reason why I really never was a fan of Spider-Man. Yeah, I know, shoot me. But as a superhero fan, he's one of my least favorite of the popular superheroes. And I've never been really able to figure out why he's popular, because I don't really kind of like him that much. I had a really good friend who collected both Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, and Amazing Spider-Man comics for years, and he could not understand why I was not a big fan of Spidey, but I never was. And so all these like spider-themed things with Arachnos don't really do anything for me. There are much cooler types of themes for enemies, like robots, like transformer type robots, such as the Malta have, or even the Carnies, right? I like them. This guy is draining our endurance with those blue blasts. That's why, and the electricity, that's why our endurance is going down so much. But fortunately, we've about got him. And now we just have to clear it out, so I guess there's some more bad guys in here that we have to fight. I thought we got everybody. Up there's somebody. Fortunata. And that completes the mission. And we can head out. And so I'm going to pause it here, guys, and I will bring you back when... Well, wait a minute. Let's actually call... Get the PCM. So this is the Psychochronometron from Arachnos. So I will pause it here because we don't have to call Agent G. And I'll bring you back when we're looking for the PCM.